What if I told you that most gardens don't actually need constant replanting to stay colorful all summer? They just need the right handful of genuinely long-blooming flowers and a couple of simple habits that keep them producing new flowers instead of quietly stopping after just a few weeks? Stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to know exactly which flowers genuinely bloom all summer long, and how to care for them so your garden stays vibrant from the first warm weeks of June all the way through September. If you've ever planted a flower bed in early summer, only to watch the color fade dramatically by mid-July, leaving you with a lot of green leaves and disappointingly few actual blooms, you're genuinely not alone, and the good news is this is almost always a plant selection issue rather than something you did wrong. Some flowers are simply bred and built to bloom in a single, relatively short flush, while others are genuinely engineered by nature, or by decades of breeding, to keep producing new flowers continuously across an entire season, as long as their basic needs are met. Choosing the right varieties from the start makes an enormous difference in how satisfying and colorful your summer garden actually feels. Let's talk about the genuinely reliable, true season-long bloomers worth building your summer garden around. Coneflower, both the classic purple variety and newer color varieties, bloom steadily from early summer well into fall, tolerating heat and drought remarkably well once established. Black-eyed Susan shares this same reliable, cheerful, long-blooming habit, its bright yellow petals and dark centers, providing consistent color with genuinely minimal fuss. Salvia, particularly the compact bedding varieties, produces continuous spikes of blue, purple, or red blooms from late spring, straight through the first frost, making it one of the most dependable season-long performers available to American gardeners. Catmint offers a softer, more relaxed long-blooming habit, its lavender blue spikes attracting pollinators steadily for months, with only occasional light shearing needed to keep the display going strong. For genuinely continuous, almost non-stop color, annual varieties like Angelonia, Lantana, and Verbena are hard to beat. These heat-loving performers genuinely bloom from planting through the first frost with remarkably little deadheading required, compared to many other flowering annuals. Daylilies deserve a specific mention too, since individual blooms only last a single day, exactly as their name suggests, but a well-established daylily clump produces so many buds in succession that the overall visual effect is genuinely continuous color for weeks at a time. And choosing a mix of early, mid, and late-season daylily varieties can stretch this effect across the entire summer. Gaillardia, sometimes called blanket flower, brings warm, fiery red and orange tones that bloom reliably from early summer through fall, genuinely thriving in hot, sunny conditions that leave many other flowers struggling. Now let's talk about the actual technique that keeps these flowers blooming continuously, rather than producing just one initial flush, because understanding this genuinely transforms how much color your garden produces over the course of a season. Most long-blooming flowers are what's called repeat bloomers, meaning they're genetically capable of producing multiple flowering cycles, but they'll only actually do so if spent blooms are regularly removed, a simple habit called deadheading. When a flower is left to fade naturally on the plant, it begins directing its energy towards seed production instead of continuing to bloom. Deadheading interrupts this process, essentially tricking the plant into producing another round of flowers. Instead, and doing this consistently throughout the season is genuinely the single biggest factor separating a garden that blooms continuously from one that peters out after the first flush. Layering your long-blooming varieties thoughtfully across the seasons adds another meaningful layer of sustained color beyond simply relying on deadheading alone. While coneflower and black-eyed Susan genuinely bloom for months, pairing them with a few varieties that peak at slightly different points within that same window, spring into summer bloomers like catmint, alongside true midsummer performers like gaillardia, and a few late summer heavy hitters like certain aster varieties that begin just as some earlier perennials start slowing down, creates a garden that feels continuously fresh and evolving rather than simply static for months on end. This kind of succession layering doesn't require any complicated planning, simply reading the bloom time listed on plant tags at your local nursery, and intentionally choosing a spread across early, middle, and late summer performers when you're making your initial plant selections goes a long way toward this effect. For gardeners working with containers, patios, or smaller spaces, rather than traditional in-ground beds, many of these same long-blooming varieties adapt beautifully to pot culture, and a few, Angelonia and Verbena especially, are actually specifically popular choices for containers, because of how reliably and continuously they perform in a confined root space. Container grown. Long bloomers do need a bit more attention to watering, since limited soil volume dries out faster than an in-ground bed, but the fundamental principles, adequate sunlight, regular deadheading, and consistent feeding, apply identically, whether your long-blooming garden lives in the ground or in a collection of pots along a sunny porch railing. It's also worth understanding that not every long-blooming plant requires the same intensity of deadheading to keep performing well. Some varieties, lantana and low-growing verbena among them, are genuinely self-cleaning to a significant degree, meaning their spent blooms naturally drop away or become visually inconspicuous, without requiring the same dedicated hands-on removal that a coneflower or black-eyed Susan genuinely benefits from. Learning which of your specific varieties fall into this more self-sufficient category, versus which ones genuinely reward regular attention, helps you allocate your limited gardening time more efficiently across a larger bed, focusing your hands-on deadheading effort where it actually moves the needle most, while trusting the more self-sufficient performers to largely take care of themselves throughout the season. Now let's talk about light and temperature, because these two factors genuinely determine how well even the most reliable long-blooming varieties actually perform. Nearly all of the flowers discussed here need 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily to bloom at their absolute best. Insufficient light is one of the most common reasons a supposedly long-blooming variety produces disappointing, sparse flowers, rather than the continuous display it's genuinely capable of. As for temperature, most of these varieties genuinely thrive in the 65 to 85 degree range that characterizes a typical American summer, and many, coneflower, black-eyed Susan, lantana, and gaillardia especially, are genuinely quite heat and drought tolerant once established, continuing to bloom reliably, even through the hottest, driest stretches of summer that leave more delicate flowers struggling or going dormant. There's genuinely interesting scientific research behind why deadheading works so effectively to extend blooming, and understanding the biology helps explain why this simple habit matters so much. Plant physiology research has shown that once a flower is pollinated and begins forming seed, the plant produces hormonal signals that suppress further flower production in that same growth cycle, essentially redirecting energy toward the more evolutionarily important task of reproduction, rather than continued flowering. Deadheading before seed formation removes this hormonal signal, allowing the plant's energy to redirect back toward producing additional blooms instead. Beyond the plant science, there's meaningful research specifically on the psychological and even physiological benefits of consistent floral color in a person's daily environment. Studies in environmental psychology have found that regular, ongoing exposure to blooming flowers, rather than a single brief seasonal display, is associated with more sustained improvements in mood and stress reduction throughout an extended period, suggesting that a genuinely continuous summer-long bloom display provides a meaningfully different, more consistent well-being benefit than a garden that peaks briefly and then fades. Watering correctly is another genuine key factor in sustaining continuous bloom production throughout the summer, since a plant under water stress will naturally redirect its limited energy toward survival rather than continued flowering. Check soil moisture by pressing a finger about 2 inches into the soil, watering deeply whenever it feels dry rather than sticking to a fixed schedule. This consistency genuinely keeps your long-blooming perennials and annuals in that healthy, low-stress state that supports continuous flower production. Water at the base of your plants rather than overhead. And water early in the morning, whenever possible, giving your plants time to absorb moisture before the heat of the day accelerates evaporation. Once well established, many of the perennial varieties discussed here, coneflower and black-eyed Susan especially, become genuinely quite drought-tolerant, needing less frequent supplemental watering than their first establishment season required, though maintaining even minimal consistent moisture during genuinely extended dry stretches still supports more abundant, continuous blooming than letting these plants experience significant drought stress. Fertilizing and pruning both play a direct, meaningful role in sustaining a genuinely all-summer bloom display. A balanced fertilizer applied at planting time, followed by a lighter feeding every 4 to 6 weeks during the active growing season, supports the substantial ongoing energy investment continuous flower production genuinely requires from a plant, though it's worth avoiding excessive nitrogen specifically, since this tends to push leafy growth at the expense of the flowers you're actually trying to maximize. Pruning, and specifically that consistent deadheading habit, already discussed, is genuinely the single most important maintenance task for sustaining continuous bloom. Plan to walk through your garden every few days during peak summer, removing spent blooms as you go, for particularly prolific bloomers, like salvia and catmint. A more significant shearing back by about a third once flowering slows. Partway through summer often triggers an entirely fresh, vigorous flush of new blooms rather than a gradual, disappointing decline through the second half of the season. Even with the right plant choices and consistent care, beginners occasionally run into a few common problems, so let's troubleshoot the most frequent ones. If a genuinely long-blooming variety seems to have stopped flowering earlier than expected, check whether spent blooms have been allowed to accumulate rather than being regularly deadheaded. Catching up on a backlog of deadheading, even if it means removing quite a lot of spent material in one sitting, often restarts flower production within just a week or two. If flowering seems noticeably sparse despite consistent deadheading, double-check your plant's actual sunlight exposure, since even partial shade from a nearby tree that's grown fuller, since planting can meaningfully reduce bloom production on plants that genuinely need full sun to perform their best. If your plants look healthy and green, but simply aren't producing many flowers, this sometimes points to over-fertilizing with a nitrogen-heavy product. Switching to a fertilizers formulated specifically to support blooming, generally higher in phosphorus, usually resolves this within a few weeks. And if your plants seem to bloom beautifully early in the summer, but noticeably decline by August, a mid-season shearing back, combined with a fresh light feeding at that same time, often revives flagging perennials for a genuine second wind heading into the later part of the season. What makes building a garden around genuinely long-blooming flowers such a rewarding strategy for beginners is how much visual payoff it delivers relative to the actual effort required. Once you've chosen the right varieties and built the simple habit of regular deadheading into your routine, you're rewarded with months of consistent, satisfying color, rather than a single brief flush, followed by a long, disappointing stretch of green foliage. It's the kind of garden that genuinely earns its keep every single week of summer, rather than putting on one impressive show and then quietly fading into the background. It's also worth setting realistic expectations. For that very first season specifically, many perennial long bloomers put more energy into root establishment than flower production during their first year in the ground, meaning a newly planted coneflower or black-eyed Susan may bloom a bit less enthusiastically in year one than it will once fully established by its second or third summer. This is a completely normal part of the process, rather than a sign anything's wrong. And patience through that first establishment season genuinely pays off with noticeably more abundant, reliable blooming in every summer that follows. So this season, build your summer garden around a handful of these genuinely reliable, long-blooming varieties: coneflower, black-eyed Susan, salvia, and a few heat-loving annuals like lantana or verbena, and commit to that simple habit of regular deadheading throughout the season. You'll be amazed at how much longer And how much more consistently, your garden stays genuinely colorful, from the very first warm days of summer straight through into fall, and once you experience one truly continuous summer of bloom. It's genuinely hard to go back to the short-lived, fade-by-July gardens you may have grown used to in years past. If you love learning about seasonal flowering, plants, vegetables, gardening tips, and nature care, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Nature Nurture Hub, your home for year-round garden inspiration. Let's keep growing together.